Hello friends, and welcome back to my crafty space. My name is Crystal, and in today's video I'm going to be creating a foundation page for my December Daily 2020 album. Now I am using the most recent FeatureCraft releases. FeatureCraft released two holiday kits, one that is Merry Traditions and one that is Holiday Happiness. I believe those are the names of the kits. I did do an unboxing for both of the kits, so if you are interested in seeing what is included, I will link that up at the eye for you to go and check that out. Also, if you have not already gone over to the shop to purchase the kits, if they are something you are interested in, I definitely highly recommend you do that sooner than later because a lot of the times the FeatureCraft kits do sell out. So what I am going to do from here is to go ahead and put you guys on fast forward and to get this foundation page created. And once everything is done, I will slow back down to close out for the day. So let's go ahead and get started. To get started making these cut files that I'm going to be using in today's pages, the first thing I needed to do is come over here into my Silhouette Studio on my computer in order to turn some of those digital stamps from the two FeatureCraft holiday kits into cut files. So the first one I am going to open up is this Santa. It's called Holiday Magic, and this one comes from the Holiday Happiness kit. This is the one that was designed by In a Creative Bubble. So once I have this stamp opened up, you can see that it's really small. It's about 1.5 inches, I believe is the circle size. I am going to click on it and I'm just going to make it really big, really big. So I want the Santa to be as close to 6 inches. So let's pull him over here and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's make him a bit bigger and maybe about right there is probably good. And I'm going to click off of it and then we're just going to move it up a little bit here. So let's double check. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-ish. Maybe a little bit smaller. How about here? Okay. We're going to say that's good. So now that I have the Santa sized as big as I want him, the next thing I want to do is get rid of a few things on this page. So I don't actually want the words around him, so I'm going to erase all of the words. I just want the Santa, and that is it. I'm also going to erase these little marks that are next to him. I'm just going to keep going here until all we have is Santa himself. That one, this little dot here, and then this star and asterisk. Okay, so that's going to leave me with just the Santa Claus. So now I'm going to grab the arrow here. I'm going to move our Santa up into the corner, and now I want to trace him to create the cut file. So I'm going to click on this butterfly icon over here in my Tools panel, and I will select Trace Area. So I'm going to click on that until it's highlighted, and then I can just draw a box around the Santa Claus. Everything that it highlights yellow is what it's going to trace around. So right now it's highlighting everything, which is perfect. So I'm going to hit this Trace button. And then I can move my Santa to the side, and you can see I've got my cut file here. Now I'm actually going to do this one more time. So let's trace him again, select Trace Area, and let's bump this in. Okay, and this time I want to trace only the outer edge. And then I can go ahead and delete the, did I delete the wrong thing? No, I can delete the Santa. So now I have my backing piece, which is going to be important for when we put this element together, and then this is all going to be the front. Now I actually wanted to create a couple of different sections here in order to make this easier to back. So the first thing I'm going to do is copy this file. So I'm going to click on it, copy it, and paste it. So now I have two of the exact same file, and this one I'm just going to move out of the way for a second here. Then with this Santa clicked on or selected, I'm going to go up to Object, and I want to release Compound Path. I'm going to click off of it, and now I can remove certain pieces of this page. Now, what I end up doing for mine is I'm going to cut out this full outline shape out of black. And then I'm also going to cut out a few pieces out of white. So for my white pieces, I want this piece because that's going to be the fur of his hat, as well as this circle piece. I'm going to pull those out in order to cut them out of a different color. So let's take our eraser tool, and this time I want to just give myself the portion of the face here. So I'm going to erase all around this section like so, and the hat and the mouth. I don't need you. And then those other pieces I can just select and delete them out of here. Okay. So for this, I'm going to highlight the two pieces. I want to go up to Object, and I want to group those two together. So now I can move this around, and what I want to do is cut this out of the skin tone for my Santa. So then when I go to back this file, that's going to make it much easier to back it. This is going to cut out the face, basically. So now we've got, if we look at our Santa, we've got the face piece, we've got the two like furry white pieces. We've got our back that's going to go behind him, and this I'm also going to cut out of white. So then what I have left to do is to make a little section for his hat to be, I want to make a section that's going to be red, since this is going to be cut out of black. I don't want his hat to be black. And I also want to cut a piece out of acetate in order to turn his beard into a shaker pocket. So the next thing that I want to do is to create a little section here up at the top of the hat that will allow me to cut a piece out of red in order to make the hat red instead of black. So I am going to click on the Santa Claus, and then I want to go to this star tool over in my tools panel. From here, we can do an offset or an internal offset, and I actually want to just click on internal offset. And you can see that it put this hat portion right here up at the top. So then I can take just that piece and move it onto a different area of this page. So let's actually turn it just so it's not in the way. That's fine. And we'll put it up at the top. Okay, so that piece I'm going to cut out of red in order to make his hat red. So the last thing I need to do is make a beard portion that I will cut out of acetate. So for that, I'm going to copy the main file again, and I'm going to paste the main file. So then we can move that out of the way. So what I want to do is delete all of those pieces, including the outside of Santa. So I just want this portion that goes inside to create his beard. And from here, I want to go back to the star, to the offset. We're going to make sure it's selected, and we're going to create a regular, just an offset. Then from here, I want to increase the distance in order to make it a good size. So then when we put it over top of the Santa, we have a good amount of space in order to stitch on the acetate piece. So then I can delete the other beard piece, and now this is what we'll cut out of acetate. So this is my Santa files in order to make this shaker pocket for today. So we've got the hat band, and the hat pom-pom ball. We've got this part of the hat, which is the red part. We have the backing of our Santa, which I cut out of white. We have this beard portion, which I cut out of acetate. And then we have the main file here, which is going to be cut out of black. Now this is too big to do all on one thing, so I will cut this on two separate pages in order to get it all out. And then once everything is cut out, I will meet you guys back at the craft table to put him all together. Before we go over there though, I want to show you one additional cut file that I created for the page today. This one's a lot easier. So this one is the holiday card PNG, so digital stamp from the Merry Tradition kit that was designed by Elise. So this one is just this little note in an envelope. And what I want to do is to use this as an embellishment in on my page. I wanted it to be roughly 2 inches wide, so that one looks pretty good. Then I'm going to go to that trace tool, the butterfly tool, select trace area, and draw a box around the envelope there. Then we're going to hit the trace button, delete the original file, not the cut file, the original file. Let's see if we did it that time. Nope, of course we didn't. Okay, let's just move that to the side. Delete that file, and now we have this cut file here ready to go. So this one I'm cutting out of white, and I will get it backed once we get over to the table. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to grab this one and all of the Santa pieces, and then we will create some fun elements to add into our pages. So I'll see you back over at the craft table. All right, so we are back at my craft table and ready to get this page going. So the first thing I'm going to do here is work on the most tedious part of the spread first, which is the Santa shaker pocket. Now, because I have all of those pieces cut out individually the exact way I want them, it's going to make doing this process a whole lot easier. So once I have everything kind of set aside to so I can see what it is I'm looking at, the first thing I'm going to do is get the black outline portion glued down on top of the plastic acetate piece. It's hard to see it here on the camera because, you know, the plastic is see-through, but I am just going to use my Tombow Mono liquid adhesive. This is my favorite adhesive for backing cut files like this, and I'm just going to add the glue all the way around the perimeter of the beard portion, just the beard portion, or, you know, the face and beard. And then we will glue that down on top of the acetate piece. I'm going to press it so that it seals really nicely. And the nice thing about Tombow is that it glues pretty quickly, so I can go ahead and work with it before, you know, too much time passes. So that is the first part. Now that I have the beard or the face portion with the plastic behind it, now I'm going to build the face on top of the plastic. So I put in the negative portion of the beard cut off so that I can position the face exactly where it's supposed to go. I added some adhesive onto the back of the black outline right there, so that is the shape that outlines the face. And then this is the portion of the cut file that I created so that I could put, you know, Santa's skin tone in there, which if you're making this, you can do whatever skin tone you want. This is just what I had on hand, so that is that. Then I'm going to add in the little mouthpiece right there. It is a little finicky getting it out because now I'm going to take the negative portion out, and it does want to peel up the mouth as well. So I'm going to try to use my tweezers to add some pressure onto it. That doesn't really work that great, so I do end up having to like take this off and put it back on, and that was a little bit, you know, it was just a little bit finicky. That is all. So then I went and grabbed the face piece there. You can see the black cut off face piece. That I'm going to layer on top of the face that I have in order to put the eyebrows, the nose, and the eyes where they are supposed to go. I love that cut files can help us in this way so that we don't have to guess at where all the pieces go, and then everything stays perfectly to scale as it was in the original image. It just makes things much easier. This one, they do stick down a lot nicer, so when I go to peel everything up, it doesn't cause as much of a problem as the little mouthpiece did. So that's good. And then once we do that, we'll get these eyes, and also I believe I had an eye that like shot across the room, so I had to go find it. And there it is. So we'll get the eye in there, then we'll peel up the negative portion of the face, and that will give us the Santa face right there. Oh, there's another one, I guess that was not too fun to get out, but we got it. There it is. It worked. So then I'm going to go ahead and add in the band of the hat right there. I just had a little bit of extra plastic that was poking out, and that's what I added my glue onto. And then I'm going to add the red portion on top of the hat. And see, that is why I cut out the red part, is because I wanted Santa's hat to be red because, you know, it's Santa. So that just allowed me to get the scale of the red portion right as well. So now I am going to go ahead and trim off the excess plastic portion around the whole beard, and then we're going to stick down the backed portion of this cut file onto the white background, or the white piece that we made to go on the back to close it all off. I don't want to add any adhesive yet to where any of the beard is, because I want to be able to add some sequins in there before I close the rest of it off. So for now, I'm just basically adding it on top of the hat. Yeah, because I also left the face up. So even in the finished cut file, the face is not actually adhered down. It's just the hat portion. So now that we have that done, I'm going to grab my sequins. For my sequins, sequins come in a variety of different sizes. The size that I have here is just a really small one. I like the way that the smaller sequins fill in the loop-de-loops of the beard. And it just, you know, to me it's almost like snow. It's really cute. I like it. And it gives that glittery feel. It's almost an iridescent type of shine on it. Once I have the amount of sequins in that area that I want, I'm going to add a thin line of glue all the way around the bottom portion of that beard, just to hold everything there for now. And then I will set this to the side. I actually will sew down around the black outline. So from the top of Santa's forehead all the way around the entire beard, I'm going to stitch all of that down, just so I can be super duper sure that everything is secured and those sequins are not going to come out. But for now, I'm going to set that aside. I have a couple of things that I'm planning to sew on this page, so it just made sense to me to wait to sew Santa until I got the sewing machine out for the other things as well. Next, I am going to work on the foundation of the left side of the page. So the idea that I had for the left side was to create a pocket using the 6x8 papers that came in this kit. They came in the, let me see if I can think of it. It's not Merry Traditions. It's the Holiday Happiness, the kit that was designed by Geraldine from In a Creative Bubble. So I'm going to use those 6x8 papers to create a pocket page in order to stick my own journaling into that. Then on top of the pocket, I wanted to add this little card embellishment. So that's the other piece that I had cut out with my silhouette. So I took a piece of the red portion, so the red 6x8 paper, and that is going to become the spine piece, basically the piece that I'm going to hole punch in order to put this into my album. Then I'm going to use one of my, this is an old photo that I have that I didn't end up using in my album last year. So I just kind of had it in a basket. I pulled that over though, because that is the size of the outside of the page protector, or the size of a page protector. So I can use that to gauge the size of how wide I wanted this page to be. So then I could adhere the scripty, it's not even scripty, it's like typewriter font, but the wordy paper on top of the red. So that's going to be the base of the left side of the page. Then I could take another little piece of the red and add it to the back of the envelope. So that's going to be, you know, my part of my embellishment. And then my journaling, I printed at 5 inches by 7 inches because I knew I wanted to be able to see around the perimeter of the letter. I wanted to see those papers. I did not want them to be totally covered up. So I added that on the page just as a reference for how tall I wanted my pocket to be. I honestly don't even remember what I cut it to. It might be like 2.5 inches. It might be 3 inches. It's something in there. I added adhesive around 3 of the 4 sides, leaving the top open so that I can slide my pocket or my journaling down inside that pocket. And then I'm also going to set that aside so I can stitch it later. Now, my journaling itself totally disappears when it goes in the pocket because it blends in with all the text behind it. So I decided to grab my black cardstock, the same cardstock that I cut out the Santa silhouette with, and I'm going to back my letter with the black paper. This does 2 things for me. One, it helps my journaling to really stick out so you know that something is in the pocket. And 2, it brings that black like pop of color over onto the left side of the page since it's also on the Santa side. So it just kind of ties the 2 sides of the pages together, and I love the way that that looks. Next, I want to finish backing this little envelope here. And I needed something to go where the quote-unquote letter is, which is what the little snowflakey embellishment goes on top of. So I decided to grab the same color that I made Santa's skin out of. Again, it just is repeating that color on the left side of the page as well as on the right side with Santa. So it just ties everything together and makes it look really cohesive. I'm going to add that onto the back of the envelope. I decided to just go ahead and add it to the entire back. That way everything is even and closed off. And then I will put the snowflake on top of the that beige color. So this is another example where I tried to put down my stencil, let's call it a stencil first, and then put the embellishment on top of that, and it just would not have it. So what I decided to do is to like stick it around the back and then just push the whole thing down on there and then pull up the stencil portion. And that worked out great too. So, you know, adjustments. So I'm going to get that cut out, and my plan is to stick this little portion on top of the green pocket that I made. That way it just gives it a little bit of extra interest for the side of the page, and it signifies that this is all about a letter of some sort. Then the next thing I'm going to do is take the craft paper bag. Now this is actually what the kit came in this year. So I just decided to take the bag and to make it smaller. Am I going to do that now? I don't remember if I'm going to do, we'll see. I'm either going to work on stamping or I'm going to work on the bag. The stamp set that you see here, this was the stamp set from the Holiday Happiness as well. It had a stamp set in it that looked like the stamping or the postage that you would have stamped onto your card for when it goes in the mail. And I thought that that would be really cute in the upper right-hand corner of my letter. And then I also am going to pull out like one tiny itty bitty tree and stamp that on the bottom of the letter just to give my letter a little bit more interest as well. So here, I'll stick that down, and we will go through this. I definitely stamped this later. I think I'm just going to pull everything out right now. Then let's see what we're going to do next. Oh, and I also am going to pull out this black letter stamp that says Happy Holidays. So it's one where it's like all black and then the words are etched out. And I'm going to put that on top of the letter embellishment. I do that again for the same reason that I backed my letter in black, and that's just to bring the black to the left side of the page to help tie everything in. Okay, now here's what I was talking about. So I printed the photo that you see here at 4 inches by 8 inches. Now the photo is actually from last year. So when this year happens, I will print out a new photo to add to the back of this bag. But for now, I'm using this for reference and to help me take pictures just so you guys can see how this page is going to flow. Then I'm going to trim off a little bit of both sides of this bag. I want the bag to be just wider than Santa. So it's going to be, I believe, 6 inches total. And then I'm going to take that and stitch it through my sewing machine in order to get the two sides closed off. I just didn't want the bag to be so large. It felt a little bit too big for me. So now I'm going to stitch everything. I did the bag there. I did the Santa. I also stitched around the perimeter of my letter. Just to, you know, give that some more texture and to hold everything down. And then I stitched in red around that green pocket to bring some more color over there. And we're going to work on getting everything into the album. So I needed to use my page protector to help me see where to put the holes for the bag because the bag is bigger. It is a lot taller than the page protector. So that just helps me to make sure it is centered. If I were to just put that into my hole punch and punch it, it definitely would have been too tall. So by doing it this way, it lets me get more in the middle of the bag. And then once I do that, we're going to actually stick the Santa down onto the bag. And then I also have some pictures and some cards that will go on the far right. So when you flip the bag over, there'll be some stuff that will go on the next page. While I'm doing that, let me read you the journaling that I wrote for this particular day. So I have this letter to Santa that I wrote, and this is going to be part of this year's project. And then I also have a journaling card where I will add some notes or some journaling from the actual day and from the actual experience of writing letters to Santa. But my letter to Santa says this. It says, "Dear Santa, as I'm sure you already know, Christmas this year is so strange. We're unable to do a lot of the things we normally would, and that could easily dampen our spirits, but we are not letting it. Every year I wish for the same thing from you, to help me show my children how to look for joy and to understand that there is magic in giving. This year is no different. I'm wishing for the same thing again, but with this year being so different, I'm hoping you can help me to throw a little more joy and magic in the season than normal. I wish for us to have a happy, healthy holiday and to keep the habit of looking for and creating joy at the forefront of our days. I hope you and Mrs. Claus are staying healthy. I'm so sorry we won't be able to come see you in person this year. I know you understand. Best of luck. You've made it through some pretty crazy things already, from having the holiday hijacked by a pumpkin king to a cold that almost caused a year without you. I know you'll make it through this COVID Christmas too. XOXO, Crystal." So I just had some fun. I just had some fun writing a letter to Santa myself. And then just as an FYI, the reason I add in a bag, so the reason I even have this Santa bag in my album at all is because I keep copies of the letters that my kids, or for so many years, it's just been Izzy, but then my kids write to Santa, and then I will fold them up and stick them in the bags. So this will be the third year now that I will have saved letters to Santa, and someday they will be able to look at them and get some joy out of seeing the things that they asked Santa for year after year after year. So that is why I have the bags. And if you go back and look at my albums from previous years, you'll see I also have bags on my wish list to Santa Day as well. So here is where I'm going to go ahead and add some of that stamping. This is the stamp that I love that looks like the postage stamping. It just says "Joy to the World," and it has like a world icon and then the wavy lines. So that goes at the top right. And then in the bottom, I'm going to stamp 3 little green trees. I used my Distress inks for both of these stamping just because the colors are a bit brighter than any of my other ink pads. And I like the way that it matches the reds and the greens of this particular kit. So the red, I believe, is Candied Apple, and the green is Lucky Clover, I think, something like that. I will link those down in the description for you guys in case you want to go check them out. And then I also have my absolute favorite black ink, which is my scrapbook.com premium dye ink. And this is what I'm going to use for creating that Happy Holidays block stamped embellishment. So when I am stamping out these block, I don't really know what that's called. If you guys know, what is it called when there's a stamp that just has the words etched out of it? So it's like a block with the words that are not stamped. I don't know. I always get like tongue-tied over that. Anyway, I always like to stamp those out a couple of times in order to get the very best impression, especially the first couple times I use the stamp. So it took me, I think, like 3 tries to get it right. And then I'm just going to stick that down with my Tombow Mono roller adhesive, and I'm going to put it right on top of the letter right there. And I just feel like that makes such a good final touch. Also, when I go to do this spread, I realize now I never added I never added a number to this page. So I probably will add it somewhere on the front side of the Santa pocket, maybe in the bottom corner or, you know, something like that. So I'll have to figure that out once I get to the actual day of documenting. And then this is the final page. I'm just going to add a puffy sticker on there for a little bit of extra dimension. I'm only going to keep the red one. And then eventually I will replace both of the pictures you see here with pictures from this year. And yeah, basically that is going to be it. So we'll stick that card back in and we will slow back down. All right, friends, that finishes this spread for today. Love the way that this one came together. It's so cute. I've got my little letter to Santa with a couple of the stamps there that slips into the pocket. This shaker pocket is probably my most favorite thing maybe ever. That was so, it just turned out so cute. I just absolutely love it. And then the back side, I have these filler photos for now. I will put real photos from this year in once this day happens and I take those pictures. But I will do something that shows Izzy with her letter to Santa and then a picture of the kids writing their letters to Santa down here, and may add some more stamps in there. Who knows? We'll see when that day happens what I decide to do. And then I've got a little area left for journaling about actually filling out the letter. And that is that. So I hope that this inspires you to use these kits in some different ways. Things like making pockets out of the papers or making shaker pockets out of the stamps. There are so many different things that you can do with these products. So with that, I will be back again throughout this month with a bunch of October daily process videos. I will have a few projects here and there that are December related, and then once November hits, I will be full in on December daily and foundation pages and all of that. So very much looking forward to all of that with you guys. If you enjoyed this video, I would love a thumbs up down below, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can see all of my future crafty videos. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye now.